as every parent of a toddler knows, children do have temper tantrums, but it's important to know when a tantrum signals something more than just the terrible twos. Dr. Joshua Weiner joins us this morning with the results of a new study that could help you kind of understand what's going on. But why don't you start by telling us, what is a tantrum and what causes it?
So a tantrum is an emotional explosion. Your kid drops to the floor, they're kicking, they're screaming, they're yelling, they're completely out of control.
A spoiled child?
No, Barbara, no, not at that age, not at 2, 3 years old. It's probably not because they're spoiled, it's because they're having incredible emotions that they just can't handle. Remember, these are little kids, their brains aren't fully developed, they're not able to handle the rush of emotions, they're frustrated. They're trying to do things that they can't do physically, they can't express themselves verbally, and it comes out with, ah!
Yeah, I know, and as a parent, I've certainly experienced my share of temper tantrums, and you don't know what to do. I remember my mother telling me that her mother said that the only way to handle it was to get a cold pot of water and toss it on the toddler. And I thought, oh my God.
Well, that probably works, but I would not advise that. I would not tell the viewers to go carry cold water around with them in a thermos or something. No. I mean, I think there are more humane approaches, should we say?
So what do we do? What do we do when we've got a kid kicking and screaming in the middle of a store?
Okay, well, the first thing I think you want to do is you want to validate the child's feelings. You want to be able to say to them, I know you are so frustrated. This is really bothering you. You want that toy, but mommy's not buying it for you. Think about it. As adults even, when we're really angry, we don't want somebody to tell us, calm down, this is the reason why I'm feeling the way I am. That just makes you more angry. What you really want is the person to validate you and say, I could see you're really, really frustrated. But you have to think as a parent, why is your child having the temper tantrum? Is it because they don't want to do something or because they're looking for attention? If that's the case, you might want to ignore them. If they're having a temper tantrum because they're frustrated because they can't tie their shoes.
Or because they can't have a candy bar that's there next to the checkout in the grocery store.
Right. Then I think what you do is you say, I know you're really frustrated. You're angry that mommy won't let you have that candy bar. And look, this is just one approach. You can also try ignoring. You could try giving them a good hug. You can try whispering in their ear to calm them down because they need to calm down to listen to you. But you have to recognize, even with all these good ideas, sometimes it just doesn't work. And it doesn't mean you're a bad parent. It's just the way it goes sometimes.
Well, then you have to say they will turn 3.
And it gets worse, I think, at 3 for a lot. Well, they will get better when they go to college. Yeah, it might not be better by 3 though.
Okay, so when do you know that it's something more than just being a terrible 2-year-old?
Well, this was an interesting study that just came out that showed that, believe it or not, actually, the average 3 to 5-year-old only has a temper tantrum a few times a week. I would have thought that the study would have shown that kids were having them daily, but actually about 8% of kids have a daily temper tantrum. So if your child is having daily temper tantrums that are lasting 5 minutes or longer, if they're hurting themselves when they're having their temper tantrum, if the temper tantrum is occurring with babysitters or with strangers, these could be a sign that maybe there's something more going on. But I don't want all the parents out there to really worry and rush to the pediatrician. My daughter would have temper tantrums that went on for 20 minutes. Nothing my wife and I tried could calm her down. She just needed to burn herself out, then we'd give her a hug and she'd be okay. So sometimes you just need to wait. But I think it's important for people to be aware of some of these statistics just so they can have their radar up a little bit if their kid is having really bad temper tantrums frequently.
So should you ignore them when they're doing this, even if it's in a public situation? I mean, or should you get down and say, I understand why you're so upset? I mean,
well, I think that there's a different, you don't want to try to reason with them. You don't want to say, well, I'm not buying you the candy because candy's not good for your your health. They don't care about that. They're not going to get that. You want to just be at their level and say, I know you're really, really frustrated. This is really hard for you. And then if it goes on and on, then yeah, you could try walking away, ignoring them. Of course, you can't walk away when you're in a store. Sometimes you just have to leave the store, figure it out, you know? I mean, it's just tough. These are tough times as a parent.
You figure everybody watching thinks you're just a terrible parent.
And you know what? Try to keep in mind that they were there too. Everybody's been there. We've all been there.
Well, this is an interesting topic, and I will forgive every parent I see who's having that kind of problem because I know it's hard to figure out exactly what to do.
It is.
Except that cold water will help.
It's tough. Avoid the cold water, please.